Pitching is an art form. There are four main points to pitching. The first is knowing the type of hitter you're facing. Second is your pitch arsenal. Third is pitch sequencing. Fourth is knowing the strike zone. These are important to be an effective pitcher. The first is knowing the type of hitter. There are basically two groups of hitters, patient and aggressive. Patient hitters are hitters who work the counts to find their pitch. It's more defensive hitting. They're looking to get on base and steal. Aggressive hitters are free swingers. They swing at more pitches outside of the strike zone. They try to score runs by hitting doubles and home runs. Second is pitch arsenal. There are 6 main pitches with variations to most of them. The first is the fastball. There are 4-seam and 2-seam. 4-seam is pretty much used to go completely straight, not really much movement. 2-seams are used for lateral movement with depth, so that means it moves side to side while also moving a little bit downwards. There's 2 types of curveballs. Knuckle, which is where you put your middle finger on the ball and you pinch up your index finger on top of the ball. And then there's regular, where you're putting both fingers over a seam. And there's 2 different angles of curveball. Most people throw a 12 to 6, which is straight down. The spin is straight downwards. And then the other one is 7 to 3 o'clock. So if you think of a clock, it's more side spin than a 12-6. The next pitch, changeup. There are 2 types of changeups. Circle changeup is where you're putting your hand on the ball and you touch your index finger and your thumb together while holding the ball. And the other one is a palm ball. Most people don't throw this way. It's where they just put the ball deep in their hand and throw it like a fastball. And then there's pretty much only one way to throw a slider, which is you put your fingers over the seam and you get on the side of the ball and try to rip it across your body. The splitter is where you put the ball in between your fingers, your middle finger and your index finger, and you're pulling down on it. So at the point of release, you almost want to flick your wrist downwards. And then some people throw a knuckleball. It's really rare. It's where you put your fingers, where only your fingertips touch the ball. And you try to keep a straight wrist, which causes the spin of the ball to slow down. And some people can even throw it where there's no spin on the ball. And this creates less friction through the air, which means it'll dance, it'll move around, or it has that look of moving. 3 is pitch sequencing. It is important to know each pitch's role in each count and where that pitch will be most effective in the strike zone. Fastballs are usually used to set up the count, and they're used to hit specific spots in the strike zone. Curveballs are usually used to get ahead early in the count, and they're used for weak contact, and they're best used low in the zone, because a curveball up is, which we call a hanging curveball, which is a lot easier to hit than a curveball in the dirt that finishes in the dirt. The slider is, most people use it as a strikeout pitch, and it's really only supposed to be used late in the counts, and it's your swing and miss pitch. Most people are going to swing and miss at a slider. A changeup is saved for the last time around, or the second time through the lineup. It's used to disrupt timing, and it's also used for weak contact, and you want to keep it low in the zone. You want your curveball to be anywhere from 10 to 12 miles an hour slower than your fastball. Sliders are 5 to 8 miles an hour slower than your fastball. Changeups are anywhere from, you want between 8 and 12 miles an hour slower than your fastball. And then lastly is knowing the strike zone. Umpires are human, so they make mistakes. The strike zone is from the belt of the hitter to the knee of the hitter over the plate. Most umpires have spots of leniency or blind spots. So, and those spots are usually on the corners of the plate, so left and right. And sometimes it's about a ball, anywhere from a half a ball to a ball and a half off the plate, if that makes sense. And sometimes they have leniency up and below the strike zone, so maybe it's not usually any more than a ball above the strike zone and maybe a ball and a half below the strike zone. You need all of these things to be an effective pitcher, and these are why the greats are the greats. Thank you.